last name. This is important when you're in sales. You're going to introduce yourself with your first and your last name. So,
I'm Tanner Klein. I said I'm good at thinking quickly and coming up with solutions for problems. I'm good at developing new ideas and building things with my hands. And I'm experienced in owning and operating a business.
okay. So, no, don't get to leave. We haven't voted yet. There's questions. First of all, what are you good at building?
I build custom furniture like tables, just different things like that, dressers, kitchen islands.
Okay. So, do you have a lathe?
I do not. I do a lot of like metalworking, like steel tables and wood tabletops and stuff like that.
So, you know how to weld?
I do.
Okay. All right. What kind of welding?
TIG and MIG.
All right. And what was your third one?
Owning and operating a business.
Okay. What business do you own?
I have a landscaping business.
You have a landscaping business. Certified arborist?
I'm not.
Okay. So what kind of landscaping do you do?
Like lawn work, like commercial lawns. I mow Mitch and Hafer baseball fields.
Okay.
A lot of different residences, stuff like that.
All right. What do you all think? I guess you're safe. Tribal council didn't vote you off. One of you two gets to go.
My name's Adrian Roman. I'm able to like pick things up pretty easily, like learn new things. I'm very focused. I like to stay on task until it's done, and I hate half-ass work. If I'm assigned a task, I'd rather take a long time to do it than do it the wrong way just to get it done.
Okay. All right. What was your first one?
I'm able to pick things up easily. I learn new things pretty quickly.
Okay. How do you learn new things quickly?
Just, some people it's doing it over and over, but I can do it over and over just a few times and I can get it down pretty quick.
So what kinds of things do you like to learn?
Anything. I'm a bit like, I used to do like MMA when I was little, and I just, whenever I get into something, I like to, take it on my own time and practice it.
Okay, so would you say you're a experiential learner or an audio learner?
I would say experiential, like visual. I like to see things, and I learn pretty quick if I know to see it, how to do it.
Okay, true or false, reading makes you sleepy.
Yes.
Okay, all right, so what do you guys think?
Hi, I'm Austin Rhodes. I like to go into an environment and make it better. I'm extremely adaptable in tough situations, and I'm indispensably personable with people.
Okay, so you're indispensably personal. I like that, using words that make you sound different. Indispensable. I am indispensable to the university. I'm sure they don't think so, which is why they don't give me a pay or anything. But, okay, so you're extremely adaptable. What does that mean? Give us an example, a substantive example of how you've adapted to a situation.
I'm already on campus, and so all the time residents have like the most outlandish things that happen to them that they need help with, and it's just being able to take the problem that they have and trying to help them, but also maintain like what the university policies are and stuff like that. And so it's doing what I can to help them while I stay within the rules.
Okay. What's your most outlandish? I used to be the associate general counsel for the university, so I know all about odd situations at UCO. I used to be the one that was in charge of throwing students off campus. That was my job right before we get sued. You have to see me and I kick you off. So what's the most outlandish thing you've had to deal with as far as the student?
I don't know if I'd say it's most like outlandish, but I ended up having to create a policy for housing because students, like, I don't know what it is about throwing their trash into a dumpster, but they wouldn't. They would start stockpiling it in the halls and like in the bathrooms, and it was disgusting, and then it would just create like health problems, and I ended up having to like help the head of directors create a policy for it. Apparently there's not a policy policy about stockpiling trash and
In the
hallways. But
Okay.
it would, well, I guess it's just pretty outlandish, cause like people would be peeing in bottles and just dumping it on the floor. Yeah, like it was pretty bad. Some of the residents are disgusting.
Okay,
But they would just like throw them in the hallways like they were just bombs or something. Just let 'em,
okay. All right, so you need to vote.
Hi, my name's Kayla Welch. I have exceptional perseverance, which is how I got my black belt in Taekwondo. I'm a creative writer, and although I'm currently unpublished, I spend all of my free time writing books, and integrity is very important to me, so I'm not one to cut corners.
Okay, so, Taekwondo, how'd you get involved with that?
My dad actually did it, and so did my grandpa, and so it's kind of a family thing.
Okay,
And so I started when I was 12, and a year ago I got my black belt.
all right, well, that is perseverance, okay. What genre do you like to write?
I prefer to write like fiction, but I can write.
Okay, fiction, but what, like murder mystery,
I like
romance,
mysteries,
comedy,
probably like action type.
action? All right, and true or false, reading makes you sleepy.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, so you can write, but you can't read.
Yes, it's totally different.
Wow. Okay. Let's see, what do you guys think?
Are you on
Huh?
Are you on
I'm the ultimate judge. Like, I may vote you off the island permanently by the end of this. It's called F.
Hi everyone, my name is Milton Summer. The three things I had was, I am an amazing multi-task handler. I am very calm even when I'm on advanced pressure. I'm a very competitive person and I don't mind being told when more than is expected of me.
Okay. All right, so a lot of people say that they're multitaskers. Give us an example of how you can multitask.
At a very young age, I used to help my mom out at the shop, and I used to do the books for her. So I could be doing the books while I'm serving a customer or answering phone calls or whatever. So I just grew up with that.
Okay, so you're able to maintain customer service while working on other things or intermittently, okay. Most of the research suggests that we're not actually very good multitaskers, although we think we are, which is one of the reasons why there are now all of these billboards all over the interstate that say what? Don't text and drive, because we think that we can do that, don't we? I'm probably I used to be one of the worst about texting and driving. I just can't quite put that in the box. All right, what was your second one?
I said I'm very calm even when I'm on an advanced pressure.
Okay, you appear to be very calm, even though this is probably a very stressful situation. Start out at 8 a.m., have to get up and talk. Okay, what do you guys think?
I'm Devontae Drennan, and I have the ability to communicate and get along with people while working with them in a group, even when I don't like them. I have a different way of looking at things, which allows me to understand both sides. And I hate to lose. I'm cutthroat. Like I'll do whatever it takes to get the job done.
Okay, I like that you admit that you're competitive and cutthroat. I think you're very Machiavellian. That's great. So your first one was you can work in a group and get along with people even when you don't like them. So give us an example.
Well, last semester, in one of our group projects, we had it was 4 of us. We had 2 people who sat there and didn't speak and didn't do anything at all, really. So instead of getting frustrated, I kind of just acted like I hated what we were doing as well to make them more comfortable. Meanwhile, I was doing all the work essentially myself, but they know that, so they still like me. We were able to work together. So.
Even though you had a visceral hatred.
They're amazing. Like they're half-assed things.
Deep down seated hatred.
I don't like lazy people.
Like, you could have voted them off the island,
Easily, quickly.
because you're cutthroat.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that brutal honesty. What do you all think? Very good. Really sucks to be you. You walked in late. You get to do it, on the fly. Everybody else had 10 minutes to come up with their 3 greatest strengths and tell the class why they should be allowed to stay in here. So you're up. Let's see how well you ad-lib. Let's see if you violate rule number 1 of the game. No pressure.
My name is Nikris Bukui. I believe that I work well in stressful situations. I found out I'm very well coordinated when it comes to multitasking or delegated to tasks that are greater than myself. Also, I believe that I am well coordinated with working with group members.
Okay, you didn't violate rule number 1, which is saying that you're a hard worker. I'm gonna give you points for that. So you can coordinate with group members. So do you think you're a leader, or are you?
I believe so. Just this past semester, I was elected into a executive position. So obviously that meant that people saw me as a potential leader or put me in a position that I saw greater than myself.
What do you guys think? All right, well, if you booed, I was gonna use my executive authority to override, because that one was pretty good, considering that you had absolutely no time to prepare. Just stand up and wing it.
My name is Ty Shell Friday. Ty Shell. I have developed great selling techniques from working in a commission-based environment. I pay attention and listen carefully. So people love talking about themselves. As long as you ask, you can build close relationships with them. I am a go-getter and I'm very independent, but I can work pretty well on groups. When I want something, no one will stop me. And I'm very observant. We speak silently with our body communication.
Okay, so first of all, I like the fact that you're a commissioned salesperson. That rocks. I hope you're planning on being a sales major,
I'm thinking about it.
in our program. So, one of the things that I think is interesting about commission sales is that there's usually a quota. Do you have a quota at your job?
No, well, I'm an optician, so I listen to what they do on a daily basis. Just try to upsell, I guess.
Okay,
So
very good. So, but you don't have a strict quota at your job? Yeah. Well, that makes it somewhat easier. That's a little less pressure. And listening is important. I tell people that the first thing somebody will ask you when they meet you, it's not the first thing I ask somebody when I meet them for the first time, but most people will ask you, what's the standard question when they first meet you?
Where you from?
Yeah.
How you doing? Yeah.
Well, okay, beyond the pleasantries. Everybody, hello, how are you? What's the next question? What do you do? And it's not at all because they're interested in you. Usually it's a segue into talking about themselves. And B, it's also a way that they can instantly put you on the social. We don't think we have any class in this structure, in this society, in the United States. We think that everybody can rise to be president. And boy, the current president has certainly shown that, hasn't he? Anybody can be president. Barack Obama, anybody can be president, right? I mean, grew up poor, was basically kind of abandoned by his mother because she went off to graduate school and left him with his grandparents, and he rose to be president. And that's just not true. Not everybody can be president, but we are definitely, in some respects, very class conscious. Not as much as the British, but it's an instant way of being able to tell where you are, whether or not you have one of those jobs that people consider a good job, or where you sort of stand in the pecking order. So, what do you guys think? I think you have the loudest applause. You may win the tribal council this time.
Okay, I'm Todd Bird, and one of my strengths is understanding people and how to relate to them beyond the surface level. My second strength is that I draw well, and I believe this is a marketable skill in the marketing world. My third strength is that I work well with others, and I feed off of others' thoughts and opinions. And I think that's like a crucial skill of not for marketing only, but for any job that requires teamwork.
Okay, very good. So you draw well. What do you like to draw?
I can pretty much draw anything, but my favorite is portraits.
Portraits? So you like to draw people? And what medium do you like to use to draw?
I use more just pencils, and I like to do like a lot of shading, stuff like that.
Okay. So you like to do like sort of black and white pencil, charcoal? You ever use charcoal?
No, I don't use charcoal.
Don't use charcoal. Have you ever done oil?
Maybe in high school. Yeah, that was probably about it.
Maybe in high school. Why don't you use oil?
Just haven't bought any, so.
Okay. All right. I like the fact that you can draw. That's important. I like art. So what do you guys think? Just like, for now.
Hi, hey guys, my name's Colton Burrell. I've sold shoes for almost 4 years now. I'm currently working at New Balance here in Edmond. And during that time, I would say one of my strengths is making personal connections with our customers. Also, another strength is listening and getting customer feedback on our products. And customer service is another strength that I pride myself in. Lastly, problem solving. I love taking on difficult tasks without being asked or told to do so. Excuse me. For example, helping returns and exchanges with customers.
Okay. So another salesperson, are you going to be a professional sales major?
I don't know yet.
You know, I didn't sell you, like, you
did.
$100,000 your first year, and that's, oh yeah, and you've already done it, right? So are you a commission salesperson?
I am, yes.
You are a commission salesperson,
We do have quotas.
and you do have a quota.
Every month.
Okay, so if you don't make your quota, what happens?
Basically just slap on the wrist.
A slap on, that's not very, most of the time you're gone, not usually within the first time you
We
fail.
do pretty well though.
Okay, all right. So what's the hardest sell you've ever had?
Man, we help people with foot problems all the time. And I get customers that come in and the first thing that they say is, okay, I'm hard to fit. And we're just like, okay. So we measure, but basically every sale is not easy. It's really hard to give an example on that. I would say maybe a lady came in, she was in her late 80s, and she had gout, she had plantar fasciitis. So I just tried to get her in our most strongest shoe, but at the same time, she wants something lightweight and something that looks pretty. And so it's really hard to try to tell somebody what they need when you know what they like and what they think that looks good. And it's hard to try to direct that person down the right path and get them into the shoe that they need rather than the shoe that they want.
So this was a real Cinderella story. She's trying to shove that big gout infested nasty foot into that glass slipper.
Into a little fashion sneaker.
Okay,
That's right.
all right. All right, what do you guys think?
I'm Tyler Marino. My first reason I think I'm going to be valuable to the team is I'm observant and capable of noticing change as it happens. My second one is going to be I like to brainstorm ideas because it gives a chance to think of how it may or may not work. And then lastly, I can work with a lack of resources as well as trying to find ways to save resources we can't use or don't have.
Okay, so your first one you mentioned is that you're observant. What have you observed so far?
We're live on YouTube. Shout out, like, subscribe.
Wow, shameless plug. Very good. All right. So give us an example of how you dealt with a lack of resources.
A lack of resources, I think it'd be like, I've had jobs in like customer service areas where it's mostly like golf oriented at country clubs. And there's all the time we'll have like lack of like water, like teas, anything we can put in the golf carts. And if we don't have them, we usually yeah, I guess we can't do anything about it. I don't know. I haven't done a lot.
Okay, well, what do you guys think?
My name is Anthony Bohannon, and I'm able to interact with all different types of personalities with people. I actually just got my real estate license last month, just finished my 8-week training, and in that training, we had to sit down and like interact with all different types of personalities and learn how to handle the situation. I'm also a creative writer. I took a creative writing class last semester, and I made a comic book. I wrote it, and then my professor told me that he advised that I get it published, or to try to get it published. And also, I am driven and determined to succeed, not necessarily in a sense of manual labor, but if you tell me that I can't do something, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna prove you wrong, and if I fail, then I'm gonna keep doing it until I succeed.
Okay, so the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And you just told us that you're gonna do the same thing over and over again. and expect
But
different
then I'm
results.
gonna succeed.
Then you're gonna succeed.
Yeah. A little
Okay.
insanity for some success.
Okay, well, that's it. That's actually important in sales. Most people will have to ask for the sale 5 times before they get it. So that can definitely be a big, challenge. It's one of the most difficult things in sales for people to overcome. So what made you decide to go into real estate?
Well, I like talking to people. Like, I like interacting with people, and I was thinking, like, I have a job at Fastenal, which is like an over-the-counter kind of sales guy with like tools and stuff. And I was like, what could I do that like I could make a good living off of and also get to interact with people all day long? And then I looked into real estate,
All right, so you're gonna become a professional salesman.
most likely.
Okay, very good. I've got one that I've sold on today already. I've done my job. That's great. Got one that's definitely considering it. We'll have to overcome those objections and get you to be a salesperson. What do you guys think? Very good.
So my name is Cynthia DeHorta. D is part of my last name. Everyone always thinks it's my middle name. So I said I'm extremely flexible. I handle all situations thrown at me very well. And I have a minor in digital forensics, so I can fix my cracked screens and I can fix my own computer too, if anything would happen. That said, I say I'm an extremely responsible individual because I've nannied for probably 3 years and I've nannied for Dr. Poe, CPAs, an FBI that said he could help me since I want to be a digital accountant or forensic accountant.
Okay, so I like the fact that you can fix cracked screens because I seem to break my screens a lot, so I may ask you for help throughout the semester. I think that's interesting. What nationality is, so I think it's, what you're telling me is your name is like D apostrophe.
No, just
Yep.
D space and then my other second one.
Okay,
It's
so-
2 words technically.
Okay, so, did it used to, like, it sounds like it was maybe French and they do that a lot.
Yeah, I'm
Just,
Mexican as well.
okay,
Yeah, but
all right.
I always get, why do your parents give you day as a middle name?
Oh, it's DE, like
Yeah.
Delo Santo. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay,
Yeah.
got it. I thought you meant just D, like that's the French way of
Yeah.
of doing it.
And then the
so,
H is 7 in Spanish, but they say it in English it's not. So
okay,
you're all crazy.
all right. And you're a nanny?
Yes,
I admire you. I hate children.
I'm actually going to nanny this week because the parents are out of town. So I had to figure out somebody to watch them while I did.
All right, what do you guys think? You're safe?
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Davis. I said I'm extremely detail oriented in my work and I'm good at making small pieces work together as a whole. I'm passionate about nonfiction writing and write essays for enjoyment, and I think and analyze before I react or respond to a situation or problem.
Okay, so you like to write. What kind of essays? What genre?
I like writing school essays. Is that a genre?
You like writing school essays, okay, so you're a glutton for punishment. Like, you like creative writing essays or like business
No, I like
projects?
analyzing literature and then like turning that into an essay, but I'm not very good at creative writing.
Okay, so you're not good at like coming up with stories or,
I mean, I can, I just don't really like it.
okay. Have you ever thought about, have you ever read any work by David Sedaris?
No.
Okay, he's this guy who writes books, but basically it's just little vignettes of his life and things that happen along the way. He's kind of a humorist. You might find that interesting. You know, try to do that, short stories that are really, based in reality. So, give us an example of how you're detail oriented, a specific substantive example.
I'm actually an intern for a wedding planner, and so like the whole entire wedding planning process is like centered around details, and there's a lot of moving pieces, and I like seeing that come together as a whole. So I've had experience doing that.
All right, I would say that does require a great level of detail. People are very, I don't know why people do this to themselves. Like, why don't you just elope? Because it's not fun. I mean, as far as I can tell, weddings are not fun for anybody involved. Everybody's worried about like the perfect dress that you're gonna wear for 5 whole minutes, right? And it's just very stressful. But yes, it is a very detail oriented business. So, what do you guys think?
Hi, my name is Tucker David. And my first quality I put down is that I show respect to everyone in a group and I listen well, as well as interject my own ideas. Number 2 is I'm a very, very self-competitive person, so I enjoy challenges, which are really good for me, which I think is good in building a brand. And my 3rd is I have experience building a brand.
Okay, so I like the fact that you use branding and talked about branding. What brand have you developed?
Well,
How
my
did you do that?
brother has a fishing YouTube channel and he started like selling shirts and like designing lures and stuff. So I've helped him
Okay.
kind of spread the word about that.
So how does he sell them besides YouTube?
Just Instagram, to his friends, Twitter, stuff like that.
Okay, very good. And you like self-challenge, so you like to become better. Okay, all right. What do you guys think?
My name is Carter Reese. My first strength, I think, is that I'm really good with people. My summer job is basically working with people, like hundreds of people a day. My second strength is I'm really good with the team. Like, I'm a very good team leader. So like my job is based around. And for my third strength is if you put me in like a sticky situation, like I'm not gonna panic. I stay calm and collected. I can help people out if I'm in a sticky situation, like with it at the same time.
Okay, so your first one was you're good with lots of people.
Yeah.
What's your job if you have to deal with hundreds of people?
So I'm a raft guy at the Oklahoma City Man-Made Rapids downtown. And so I'm actually the tier leader. So I actually do the safety talk before we start going rafting, and I actually take a boat too, and we go down the Man-Made Rapids and stuff.
Okay. And do people actually listen? Do they panic?
No, they always panic, but you still have to do the safety talk. Like a lot of people don't understand, like you can't stand up in rapids, especially like at OKC Rapids. So like it's all gravity fed from our pumps. There's no jets in between the rapids. It's all like straight downhill. And so the water's not very deep. It's like 4 foot at the deepest and 1 foot at the lowest. And there's blocks in the middle of the channel that if you stand up, like you can break toes and shins and stuff like that. Like we had a broken back once, grandma broke her pelvis, like a couple of shoulder dislocations and whatnot.
Why was grandma on the raft?
I've had a 90-year-old in my raft before. They just like the adrenaline of it. Yeah.
My brother and my dad own their own whitewater rafts, and they go every year down the Smith River. And so my dad is obviously a grandfather, and my mother goes as well, so, and they love to do that. And I go and scream a lot.
Have you been to Oklahoma City Rapids yet?
I have not, I've been intending to do that.
It's real deal. I have to say it's not like meant to be kids rides. It's like a lot of people like come down. It's like, oh, can my 4-year-old go? And they're like, I have to tell them no. It's like
There's
yeah,
an age minimum.
there's definitely an age limit because like it's real deal. It's not a joke. So
Okay, what do you guys think? Very good. Now this one you can do, because he was in my class last semester. Obviously, he's a glutton for punishment or not, decided to suffer through another class. I don't know why.
Right.
In an 8 a.m. class, so.
Good morning. My name is Ken Williams. 3 strengths that I believe I possess is I do not like to waste time. I'm able to clearly communicate objectives and outcomes. And I believe that I possess good leadership qualities in which I implement real impact.
Okay, so what do you mean? Give us an example of how you don't like to waste. What's a waste of time?
I mean, just chilling, honestly. If you're not learning, making money, or if it doesn't have anything to do with like your spiritual life, I feel like it's wasting time.
So if you're just kicking back, drinking bud with your buds, that's,
Well, that's like, quality, that's quality
spiritual time.
Yeah, that's, health
Okay.
and wellness.
That's, okay. Well, the World Health Organization has come out, by the way, and said that there is no safe amount. It's like safe amount of alcohol. I'm not sure how much I buy that. So.
wait, what? What was safe
The
about
World
it?
Health Organization has come out and said that like cigarettes, there is no, a lot of people think that there's some health benefit to drinking, for example, red wine. They have said there is no safe amount of alcohol. But it does irreparable damage to your body in any amount. Now, I don't know how many people are gonna follow that, but that's what they've said. I find that ruling abhorrent, by the way.
Yes.
I started out as a lawyer, so therefore I like to drink. It's one of those things. So what do you guys think? Okay. So what we're gonna do now, we'll play the second round of Marketing Survivor. You all are safe for now. On Thursday, I want you to get in groups of about 4 or 5. There's 20 in here. So I would like to have 4 groups for the presentation. For the presentations that we'll do at the end. What you're gonna do is based on these strengths, what I've done is normally I teach a big class and I can't let everybody go through their individuals on their own. And so people just have to choose who's around them. The reason, since I have a small class this semester, that I did this first, usually I have a class that's in the Troy Smith and there's like 100 people in it. And obviously I can't go through 100 people. I'd never get through, several class periods without getting everything. But to allow you to get an idea of who your colleagues are rather than just sort of focusing on people that are sitting around you. So I want you to get into groups based on what you've heard. Choose for your first one a team leader, and then I will give that person the second part of the team challenge, which is to come up with a brand identity for your group and then put all of your papers in alphabetical order. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the live broadcast, and we will do the second part on Thursday and then start talking about marketing. You've actually practiced marketing today, so good job.